Adam Carolla is back on the road. May 2nd and 3rd in Port Charlotte, Florida at Visani's Italian Steakhouse and Comedy Theater. Sunday, May 4th in Melbourne, Florida at the Melbourne Auditorium with Terrence K. Williams. And then the Ace Man jumps over to the Pacific Northwest May 30th and 31st at the Tacoma Comedy Club in Washington. Get tickets for these and other shows at adamcarolla.com. Finally feeling he has permission to articulate his pain. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on, man. Warren Haynes is in a hotel somewhere. Of course, Allman Brothers, such a great band, such great musicianship. You know, they're bands from back in the day that you go, that's pretty good. But the Allman Brothers, you're like, oh, the musicianship, you know, Whipping Post, Sweet Melissa, Ramblin' Man, Midnight Rider, Jessica. So good to speak to you, Warren.
You as well. Thanks for having me.
You're out on the road. Are you touring as we speak?
Yeah, I'm in Seattle, playing here tonight, and just started a West Coast tour. I've been off for a few weeks prior to that.
You joined the Allman Brothers in '89, was it?
Yeah, for a 20th anniversary reunion tour that we thought was just going to be 1 year. And it was very successful. And more importantly, the band, the original members were getting along and the music was fantastic. So we just kept doing it. And I was in the band for 25 years.
And you've worked with Dave Matthews and John Mayer and everybody. Where did you start out?
You know, my first big break, I guess, was with Dickie Betts when the Allman Brothers were broken up in the 80s. I had befriended Dickie Betts and Greg Allman during that time period, and I got invited to sing harmony on a Dickie Betts record that never came out. And then afterward, he called me and said, hey, let's get together, write some songs, and start a rock and roll band. And so I toured with Dickie for about 3 years in the 80s. And then in 89, they called me and said, we're putting the Allman Brothers back together, and we want you to join.
And so where do you hail from, and how did it all start for you in the early days?
Well, I'm originally from Asheville, North Carolina, and started singing when I was really young, probably 8 or 9. And then started playing guitar when I was 12. I was a huge Allman Brothers fan from the very beginning. Even before I picked up guitar, I loved Greg's voice and just the sound of that music in general. I had 2 older brothers that kind of force-fed me a lot of great music, so I was really lucky that way.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I was talking to a young person yesterday, and she said, what kind of music do you like? And I said, good music. And she said, well, it's kind of in the eye of the beholder. And I was like, nah, there's good music. You probably don't know it or you didn't hear much about it, but there's good music. And then there's shit music. And that's for dumb people, but they get it spoon-fed to them every day. But there is such a thing as good music and good musicians, and it's better. And it's not like, oh, it's just my opinion that the Allman Brothers are better than Paula Abdul. It's not. There's a good and there's a bad. And it's that way with car design. It's that way with architecture. Yeah. There's a good and a bad. I mean, you can argue all you want for the Pontiac Aztek, but I'm going to go with the Ferrari Daytona in the design department. And it doesn't matter if you like it better. That just makes you dumb. And I've tried to explain that to people with music all the time, but it's always insulting to them.
Yeah, I think some people take music a little more seriously, and other people look at it as like background, you know, it's like wallpaper. You know,
yes.
If you take it seriously, then you owe it to yourself to kind of seek out the better music, you know. And I remember Wynton Marsalis saying one time when somebody asked him if he was frustrated because more people didn't listen to jazz, and he said, you know, jazz is filet mignon. Most people would rather eat at McDonald's.
Yeah. It's true. And I feel the same way about lyrics. I'm like, oh, they matter. They're part of the song. They're a big part. And I hate bad lyrics. I hate weak lyrics. And I hate cop-out lyrics. But most people, I realize, don't even hear the lyrics. And they don't really hear, I think they just hear the drum, like, honestly, and the sort of repetition of it. I don't even know if they know what they like.
Yeah, I think women probably listen to lyrics more than men. Men love drums and guitars, and, but I have to remind myself, because I agree with you. I hate terrible lyrics, too. And I go back and hear a lot of great music that I grew up with, and God, the lyrics are so horrible. But I think I have to remind myself that what people are experiencing is just the overall picture, and sometimes they don't separate it. But for me, if I can't listen to music if the lyrics are bad, I can't do it.
Yeah, except for maybe if I get drunk. Some Lover Boy, because the Lover Boy is the worst. Their lyrics are so insultingly bad, but the songs always have kind of a hook to them, But that's that's a few beers in. I'll tolerate a little Lover Boy.
Nice buffer there, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And then I guess in a weird way, it's kind of like sports. Some people just show up to the Super Bowl party and they don't even really know what team's playing. They just want to eat some food and hang out with some people. And then other people really dive deep into the stats and that kind of stuff. And I feel there's a version of that with music where a lot of people are just sort of passively along for the ride, and then others are trying to break it down and explore it. And it means more to them.
Yeah, it would be like if you judged your favorite sports team on how they looked and how they dressed.
Right.
There are a lot of people that they're just being entertained, and okay, that's fine. But some of us want more than that.
Where do you come down? And I've never asked this or thought about this, but I have found through interviewing a lot of race car drivers, because I'm a car guy and I'm a gearhead, and I've interviewed a lot of race car drivers, and they don't know anything about the mechanics of the car. They're not interested. They really don't know anything, most of them. And then most professional athletes don't know a lot about the history of the game or the statistics or who came before them and stuff like that. Do you find, and I know comedians who aren't really that interested in comedy. It's just a kind of a job, but they're not really funny in their time off. Do you know musicians, guys in bands who just aren't that interested in music? That seemed more rare.
Yeah, that's disheartening. I was definitely one of those people that grew up reading every credit on every album that I loved. I wanted to know who wrote the song, who played what. Even though I didn't know what a producer did, I wanted to know who produced and engineered the records. And I'm pretty geeky about music history and knowing what came before. I'm not nearly as geeky about the mechanical part of it. I can't work on guitars and maintain amplifiers and stuff like a lot of musicians do. I just never was attracted to that part of it, But I think a lot of musicians start out as the hugest fans and then become musicians as a result,
Who are some of the greats in your book? Who did you listen to? I mean, Allman Brothers, but who else?
Well, in the beginning, it was Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton and Johnny Winter. Those were the first three people that I discovered. Then people like Jeff Beck and the Allman Brothers. But I soon realized that all those guys were listening to blues and jazz, so I would check out B.B. King and Freddie King and Albert King and Wes Montgomery and Django Reinhardt and people like that. It's kind of like a family tree, and you just go backwards and see who everybody before you listen to, and that's a really good way of discovering where it all comes from.
Dwayne died young, right? Motorcycle accident.
Yeah.
Early 70s, right? You were
71, yeah.
71. And then Greg was with us till 2017, I think I read.
Yeah.
Is that about right?
Yep, and Butch as well. And Dickie Betts died last year. So there's only one original member still alive, which is J-Mo, one of the two founding drummers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it can go no other way. I mean, eventually it's gonna work that way for everyone.
Yeah, with the Allman Brothers, it started early, obviously. Dwayne died in 71, and Barry Oakley died in 72, the original bass player. And they were so young. Dwayne wasn't even 25 when he died, and the sky was the limit at that point, so it was very tragic.
Had they had were all their hits, I mean, all the radio hits that we know so well, were those in the can before Dwayne died?
Ramblin' Man was recorded after Dwayne died. And then songs like Whippin' Post and Midnight Rider weren't really hits at the time. They just kind of became hits through the years. It took until probably 1973 for the Allman Brothers to build up enough momentum to have actual hit records. But then the way it worked back then is they would start playing your early stuff and it would all become classic.
So were the Allman Brothers just very gifted guys? I mean, was it a family thing? Was there musicians in the family? How'd they get so mature, so good, so fast?
That was an uncanny time period, I think, for bands like that. And the musicianship was at a higher level, a higher bar. Yeah, a lot of those guys grew up in musical families, but once they got together, it was just an odd blend of personalities. They were an integrated band coming out of the South in the 60s, which was very bizarre. And J-Mo, the drummer, who was African-American, brought the kind of jazz influence to the band. He turned the band on to Miles Davis and John Coltrane, and he had played with people like Otis Redding and Percy Sledge. So they were, more importantly, I think, combining soul music and rock music and country and jazz and all that stuff and blues together in a way that nobody really had.
Yeah, I mean, that's the secret sauce, I think. Like when you listen to Lynyrd Skynyrd, they got a lot of swing in a lot of their music. If you listen to what's sort of behind it starts off sort of like, Southern rock, but it's not Southern rock. It's got a lot of almost big band underneath it and like swing to it.
Yeah, and with Lynyrd Skynyrd, they orchestrated the guitar solos in a way where two people would play together, and that was kind of a takeoff on what Duane Allman and Dickie Betts had done in the Allman Brothers, but they were playing in harmony, where Skynyrd would actually play like a big band. They would have two guys playing the same parts, and it would have more of a big band swing kind of feel. I think also Skynyrd was influenced by people like the Rolling Stones and the British band Free, which they all cited as being their favorite band. It was such an interesting time because it was going by so quickly. And people were just kind of making it up as they went along. And it's hard to believe that people that young contributed to that extent,
Yeah, it's like, D-Day had a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds storming the beach,
Right.
And that sounds insane now because I got an 18-year-old and he's not storming anything but a Taco Bell. But I seriously, like you look at a 17, 18, 19-year-old guys, the guys who were fighting in World War II, and then you look at a 19-year-old kid today, that's not the same dude. And then you see these guys, 24, 25, pork chop, sideburns, holding a cigarette, playing, traveling in a van. You're like, that looks like an old dude. That doesn't, he doesn't feel like, doesn't sound like, doesn't play like, likes his whiskey, likes his women. You're talking about 24-year-old dudes.
Yeah. And when you look at the equivalent today, it definitely doesn't feel the same to me.
No, it isn't. So maybe, chronological age is something. I mean, look, if the average age is 60, when you're 20, you're 33% through with your life. But if you're but if the average life expectancy is 85, then when you're 20, it's like being 11. I think that's kind of what's going on, as far as I can tell. And
and like in the old days when people only lived to be 40, you had to accomplish a lot when you were young.
Did you, back in the day, or even not back in the day, did you guys go out with other bands? Can you remember some of the bands you went out with or who you took out? I always love a good story of some band that we've all heard of now, but no one really heard of them back in the day, opening for, or vice versa.
Well, when I joined the Allman Brothers, we always liked to do 2 sets, and the shows were really long. Most of the time, we didn't have openers. There were some fun ones, like in 1991, Little Feat was the opener, and of course, they were another one of my favorite bands. And so I would go out and sit in with Little Feat every night, and then play with the Allman Brothers every night, and it was just fantastic. We did through the years a lot of interesting co-bills. With a few shows with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, some shows with Steve Winwood, and people like that I really admired. That was a big part of what was happening. That was so exciting for me. A lot of these people were my heroes that I grew up listening to.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to do some show out of town. I was in the car for about an hour and a half the other Saturday night, driving out to do an event, coming back, and I stumbled onto the Tom Petty station on Sirius XM, just scrubbing through, and I just left it on because, man, the guy live sounded amazing. Just a great live show. And so many great songs. When we did those handful of shows together, I remember it was 3 shows in before he played Breakdown, which was the first Tom Petty song I ever heard. Right.
And I remember thinking how amazing to have so many great songs that you can play a long show or 2 long shows and not even get to all of them. I remember Tom sitting in with us in L.A. and a couple of other times, and just really fond memories. His band was fantastic live and in the studio, obviously. It sounds so produced. I don't mean produced in a bad way, but it sounds very well produced in the studio, that you assume that when you hear the live version of the song, it's going to be a little bit of a downgrade, or they're not going to be able to pull off that sound in front of 10,000 people. But they do. I mean, it sounded amazing. Sitting in, I think about the thing I'm probably most jealous of anybody in life, besides being like a Blue Angel pilot or something like that. I think sitting in with a band, like you with Little Feat or Tom Petty with you guys, like that just must be the greatest feeling of going out there and sitting in. And then how do you sit in? Like, do you practice with them, or do you just pick up what's out there? It varies. Usually you just kind of wing it. There are times when somebody will call me and say, hey, can you come by sound check and we'll run through some stuff? I sit in with the Dave Matthews Band a lot. And sometimes we just wing it, and sometimes we'll actually rehearse. More often than not, it's less rehearsed than most people would think. But you try to pick songs that are going to go well without much rehearsal. The first time I sat in with Bob Dylan, there was no rehearsal. And he was like teaching me the song on stage while people waited.
Really?
It was rather humorous,
What was that
the first
like?
song we played was All Along the Watchtower. And I'm thinking, I think I know this one, but, what an honor that was, and I think the music that's made in those settings is fantastic, partially because of the kind of danger factor of not necessarily knowing perfectly how it goes.
How did the Bob Dylan sit-in story go?
Well, I was doing a tour with Phil Lesh from the Grateful Dead, and we did a co-headline tour with Phil and Bob Dylan. And so there were several nights on that tour that Bob invited me to get up and play with him. It was what an honor. I would put him at the top of the list of people that I would be honored to play with, and it was fantastic.
And did you see the movie, by the way, the Bob Dylan movie?
I haven't seen it yet. I hear it's really good, but I haven't seen it.
It is good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's got to be nice to be tapped to sit in. And I don't know what the etiquette is, but I can tell you with comedians, you can do a drop-in set, like you'll go, I hear you're playing a show out in L.A., could I come by, do 10 minutes or something like that. But it's also, there's an etiquette part of it, which is, do you ask or do you wait to be asked? Like, it would seem weird if you were going up to Bob Dylan going, hey, how about I hop out on stage and swing my axe with you?
Yeah.
But do you ask? Is there is the etiquette they ask you?
Yeah. And that's always, since I was a teenager, what we were taught as jam manners. You don't ask somebody else to sit in. If they want you to sit in, they'll ask you. It doesn't mean there haven't been situations where somebody's come up and said, hey, if it works out tonight, I'd sure love to play a song. But more often than not, the etiquette is wait till you're asked. I think to me, it's intimidating enough to sit in with someone. So I don't want to be the person that said, hey, can I sit in with you and fuck up your show?
Well, you have to know that once it starts, your fingers are just going to start doing the right thing, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah. I know that feeling of like going, how's this going to work? And then you get on stage and something sort of takes over.
Usually that's the case. Even if you're unprepared, nervous, sick, whatever the situation is, and you think, oh, I'm going to suck tonight. Something about walking out on stage changes all that, and usually you rise to the occasion.
Yeah, and again, it's sort of it's got to be the ultimate compliment because it's you've been observed by this person being really good at what you do, and that's why they ask. I mean, I don't think they ask cold. They tour with you a little bit, they see you out there, they hear you, and then they ask, right?
Yeah, and when I think back, the first time that I sat in with Dickie Betts, which I think was like 1981, I was 21 years old, and it was because he had heard me play and liked my playing, and that indirectly led to our friendship, which led to me joining his band, which led to me joining the Allman Brothers. So it can be a very important thing.
Well, let me give you a plug, by the way. WarrenHaynes.net is the website. There's dates coming up. Lake Tahoe, Harrah's, that'll be on the 29th of April. And then Cascade Theater in Redding, California. That'll be on the 1st of May. 2nd of May, Rockland, California. Corey Park Amphitheater. And dates will go beyond that. Wait, Dawson's got oh, no, sorry. He had his hand up. I didn't know if you wanted to say something.
I would like to say something. I got some questions.
Oh, well, then why'd you wave me off?
I'm sorry. I was going to let you finish the plug. But Warren, this is Dawson. I saw you play with the Allman Brothers during the Seven Turns tour back in '90 when I worked at the Concord Pavilion. And then fast forward quite a few years when I was the music director at K-Tide in Santa Barbara, you guys released the record Hitting the Note, and you were back with the band full-time at that show. I kind of have two questions that have zero to do with each other. Number one, as a band member of a band who has two drummers, what the hell is that like? And is it as awesome as we all would hope it would be? And then secondly, I just wanted to share a little story that when I was the music director of K-Tide, we added songs from Hitting the Note. I mean, we were playing Desdemona. We loved that record. And the label exec over at Interscope kept asking me what I wanted. And I'm like, I'll let you know. And as soon as the brothers were announced at the Santa Barbara Bowl, I called him up and said, I need 20 tickets within the first 5 rows. And the guy said, okay, no problem. I think we got row 8. But that was you, Derek Trucks, even Susan Tedeschi came out on stage. And 2 rows in front of me was a taper. And I went and made very good friends with him. And I still have that entire show from the Santa Barbara Bowl, and I listen to it like 4 or 5 times a year. It's awesome. Drummers, talk to me.
Well, in the case of the Allman Brothers, having 2 drummers is magnificent because they played together so well, largely because Butch Trucks was kind of a meat and potatoes rock drummer, and J-Mo was a jazz drummer, and their styles were so different, they just happened to mesh. If you have 2 drummers that are too similar to each other, it can be kind of a train wreck. But the Allman Brothers style of double drumming is fantastic and a joy to be part of, you know. I remember that Santa Barbara Bowl show you're referring to. That was always a fun place to play.
That's a great place to play. Only place you can see the ocean from the stands.
Oh,
it's small enough. And, Adam, there's an old joke about Southern rock. And in order to be in a Southern rock band, you have to have 3 guitarists. The only exception to that rule is if 2 of your guitarists are named Dwayne Allman and Dickie Betts.
Oh, that's a compliment joke. Warren, thanks for joining us. I know we had some technical troubles, but it was great catching up with you. Warren Haynes,
pleasure.
Everybody. All right, we'll take a quick break. Skinny Jodi Miller and both comedians, Riki Lindhome, are going to join us, and we'll do that right after this. Morgan & Morgan, here's the dirty little secret that the insurance industry may not want you to know. I think they'd like to keep this one under wraps. Insurance companies profit by holding on to your money for as long as possible. So after an accident, they might do whatever they can to delay or deny your claim. This way, they can keep those profits growing. Morgan & Morgan fights hard against these corporations to make sure you get every dollar you deserve. I like these Morgan & Morgan guys. I've met with them a few times. They have a pretty good sense of humor for lawyers. You got to say that. Also, they get it done. They got results. So when Morgan & Morgan takes on a case, they're almost always going after the big insurance companies and not the individual at fault. There's a reason why Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury firm. It's Morgan & Morgan, right, Dawson?
Hiring the wrong firm could be disastrous. Hiring the right firm could substantially increase your settlement. With Morgan & Morgan, it's easy to get started, and their fee is free unless they win. Just visit forthepeople.com/Adam or dial #law #529. That's forthepeople.com/Adam or dial #law #529. This is a paid advertisement.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Woo, woo. Yeah, O'Reilly, man. Loving these guys. I work on my cars. You work on your cars. Good for your brain. Yeah. I mean, people drive a modern car. Maybe they don't wrench as much, but it's good to have a project car to work on, too. But whether it's new or it's old, O'Reilly's got the parts. Auto parts. And they have friendly, helpful service and the knowledge you need for the maintenance and the repairs. Keep those cars running. They're not cheap anymore. You got to keep it going, man. Always used to go the one up on Foothill when I lived out in La Cañada with my roommates, and I still use that one up there. It's the closest to my place. So whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, you're going to find the employees at O'Reilly Auto Parts are knowledgeable, helpful, and best of all, friendly. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today, or you can visit us at O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
You wear a sleep apnea machine. I'm in early menopause. Let's fuck. You've got lots of extra skin. Every vein in my body is visible. Let's fuck. Let's do it all night long. Or maybe just once so we can go to bed early. Yeah. You can go real deep if it feels alright, since your hernia surgery, baby. Fuck me like an animal if that animal's a turtle. You can come inside me, it's okay. I'm infertile. Yeah, that's right.
I miss a funny song.
Thank you.
I grew up on Dr. Demento.
Oh,
so
the best.
I just loved funny songs.
Yeah,
and
I love making them.
They're great. It's like one of the best parts about being a kid is stumbling onto funny songs or making up a funny song.
Yeah, it's the best. I used to
Riki-
love Weird Al so much.
Weird Al is the best.
I still love him, but it was my
Yeah.
favorite thing as a child.
I was literally driving home last night listening to Billy Joel do "But She's Always a Woman to Me," and then he goes, "Oh," and I go, "She shaves hair off herself," and it's because in high school I was making up stupid
we
words.
all do that. We all do that, and then we get pets, and we do it to our pets
Yep.
too. We start coming up with songs for our pets,
Yep. Then we do it with our children.
our children.
Yep.
Is this the version? Well, let me ask you two very established and accomplished female comedians. The young comedians, the 11-year-old young males, you make crank calls. That's what you do.
Right, yeah.
Every guy
But
I
I do
know
too, by the way. I
grew up
made a lot
making
of those.
crank calls. But women, not as much. And they're not as mean or they're a mischief or something. It's more male-centric. But the songs, like Jimmy Kimmel made prank calls his whole life,
Right.
but he didn't make up fake songs.
Right.
Women do subterfuge at that age.
Uh-huh.
When we're mean. Like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
just can't quite get away. Like I don't know, maybe kids today can, but we couldn't quite get away with it the way guys can, where it's like mischief. It wasn't mischief.
Right.
It was like really bad. And so we would, subtly, manipulate someone over the course of a month instead of like a crank call.
long term. See, I
Yeah.
actually did do the crank calls because I had the imagination and I had that acting. So I could call up. We would find someone. We would call them Mrs. Williams. We were just shot in the dark. I am your son's teacher. And I'd say usually by the third time, I'm going to reach someone who has a son in school.
Right.
So I would do it. Sometimes they'd be like, well, I don't have a son. And we're like, all right, have a nice day. So then I would call the next person. Well, maybe you should get on that. Maybe you should work on that. But I'd eventually find someone and they would say, oh, yes. I'm like, yeah, this is your son's teacher. He's exposing himself in the classroom.
No. Oh, my God.
And then sometimes they'd be like, it's kindergarten. I'm like, I know, but it's offensive. Like, I mean, when you
They're
have
like,
to kind of-
again?
I
Yeah.
was learning improv at that time, but like my friends would, yes, like the guy friends would definitely make the crank calls. Mine were definitely more creative, and it had that like backstory so that I could get that kid really in trouble when he came home. So.
Yeah, I was thinking about earlier. I was talking to someone about Crank Yankers, which is a show about crank calls,
Yeah.
and we got everybody to do it because every dude was like, "Oh, I'm in."
yeah.
It was like
yeah.
like once in a while they'll have like celebrity softball game at Dodger Stadium, and then the dudes are like, "Oh yeah, like I played ball in high school." Like they're attracted
Yes.
to it, and I don't know about the songs. I don't know if there is no more Dr. Demento, right?
I don't think so. And I don't think that song was called Middle Age Love. I don't think the 11-year-old boys are going to love that. Like
They might.
they might. A song about like menopause. Yeah, they'll love it.
But the interesting thing about the song is it's a kind of a good song anyway, even though it's a little scatological.
Right.
So how does that work? And who's the top of the mountain of female songsters?
Of musical comedians,
Yeah.
I'm looking at it.
I think it might be me.
Might
It's
be
you.
you.
Like, it
Yeah,
is
just
you.
because I don't think there's a ton of us. There's
There's
other
not a
people.
lot.
There's
There are
maybe
some.
there's maybe like a couple people
Sarah
up there.
Silverman would
Yeah.
do some stuff.
Right. There's yes, there's some
She's
women
right
that
up
would.
there.
But it wasn't her thing.
No, she was just also good at that, but it wasn't her main thing.
Her
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of us.
There's
They're
not
really,
a lot. And if they are,
Yeah.
they're mainly in sketch, like, on an SNL or a type, or,
Right.
like traveling sketch. Yeah.
But you
Well,
must have, you must have had serious aspirations at some point musically.
Yes, I used to play a bunch of instruments, and I nobody cared, and I was trying to act, and nobody really cared. And then I would play like funny, dumb songs at parties or stuff like that, and people would be
And then
like,
they cared.
play another one, and I was like, for real? I'm like, you guys are being nice, and they're like, no, it just kind of kept happening,
Right.
and then like the world gave me hints like 15 times, and I didn't listen, and
Yeah.
then finally it like. Yeah, Kate McCucci and I, when we were doing Garfunkel Notes, we wrote a song and we put it on YouTube before that was a medium. Like I didn't know that people could see it because it was in 2007,
Right.
and it was just because the file I couldn't send it to my parents over email.
Yeah, so
and so it was accidentally on YouTube, us singing on my couch, and then like a month later, someone bought it and used it as a musical number in a show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Scrubs. So it was like, oh wait, and then I was like, okay, maybe this is something.
Maybe this is something.
By the way, I should give something a plug, the comedy album, right?
Yes, it just came
Yes.
out. My first solo album.
Congrats.
Thank you.
No Worries If Not.
Yep.
Is the name of it, and it can be found wherever you
Yeah.
find finer music
Yes.
on the
Yes.
You know where you find that
on the
finer music.
internet.
yes.
Look for
yes.
finer music.
So what was I gonna? Oh, I looked down at the bottom of this, and I was like, "Oh yeah, $1 Million Baby."
Yeah.
Played the bad sister.
Can you believe it? That was so
Oh
long
my
ago.
God, I didn't know.
That was a
Amazing.
big role in a
was
big
crazy.
Clint Eastwood movie.
Yeah.
First movie.
Oh,
That's your
wow.
first movie?
Yeah, I didn't have an agent or anything for like a couple years after that. I was just Clint Eastwood saw me in a play.
Wow.
How did that
Yeah.
come about? So, I mean, that's a big movie. Academy, I'm nominated at least. I didn't know if it won or not.
It won, yeah.
Oh, it won.
My first thing won the Oscar. Yeah. Oh, there I am. Yep.
And you get a role as the worst sister in the worst family ever.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I forgot. I was looking at you and I go, oh, yeah.
That was me. And I didn't get an agent for like 2 years after that. I just
How
I
is
was
that? How's that possible?
I just like started. I didn't know anyone, and I did a play that Tim Robbins had written,
Right.
and it was the year that Mystic River
yeah.
was doing the Oscar stuff, and so Clint Eastwood came to the play and saw me in that.
So how did you not get an agent after that?
I don't even know. Well, people couldn't even get a hold of me. Like it
Oh,
was.
I see.
I started like there was
Right.
no. I mean, I did eventually, but I started doing those casting director workshops.
Right, yeah.
And then I think a casting director reached out to an agent for me because I was recurring on a TV show and I was in that movie and I was unrepresented,
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Usually they find you, you know what I
Right.
mean, immediately. And they
but you couldn't find people back then.
Right, yeah. I mean,
It's like
God, do you
2002
remember?
or
People
3 or
couldn't
something.
find-
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how any. I mean, it's weird. I could remember, like, when I was a kid. It's a funny thing, which is you'd go to the movies or whatever, and then you'd say to your mom, why don't you pick us up after the
Right.
movie? And then they go, call me after the movie
Right.
ends. And then they'd hand you a small disc called a dime,
I
a
remember those.
metallic disc.
Mine were quarters. I was a quarter.
It was a
Yep.
dime, and it was metallic. But it was really just, it'll go down in future. It's just a circle.
Circle.
That was 3/8 of an inch wide. And they hand it to you, and they go, use this disc, this metallic disc, and put it into that robot machine with the phone on it, and call me.
And then wait.
And then wait.
See if I answer.
Yeah,
maybe
Yeah.
I won't.
Or
Yeah.
if you get a busy signal.
Yep.
Oh, the busy signal.
Your dime. Yeah.
So, how did Clint Eastwood discover you?
So he saw me in a play that Tim Robbins wrote, and then his casting director called me, and I just auditioned, and then I
That was
got
it.
the part. Yeah, it was just it was like, oh, I was like, I guess this just happens. I guess this is how it just goes. I don't know.
Was it up?
Every actor listening right now is ready to kill themselves. They're
No.
just hanging
But yeah,
from
my first
rafters.
movie won the Oscar, and then it was like 10 years of drudgery after that. It
okay.
wasn't like, and then
everything was great. And then I won an Oscar. Yeah.
right after. Yeah, no.
Did it won Best Picture?
Yeah,
Your first thing?
first thing.
And was this up north where Clint Eastwood lives?
No, this was it was a play in LA, and then it went to New York at the Public, and it's just lucky. It was,
Luck.
and this was me like living in Park La Brea, sending out headshots to all the local theater companies. Just
I
like
lived right in front of Park La Brea.
You did, yeah. I knew no people.
Yeah.
I was just like sending headshots
Yes.
into the ether.
Do you remember doing that?
Oh yeah, they were like sepia toned. It was like
Yes.
stapling my.
Do you know
my
what
resume, my non-existent
Do you know
resume?
what I sent? So everybody was sending headshots and resumes just blindly to like represent me. I'll be the different brunette you don't have. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I've got something special. So one time I went in to get a CAT scan of my head because I had a bad deviated septum, and they actually sent me the picture that was like an 8x10 of my skull. So I photocopied 50 of those, and I sent that with a cover letter that's like, I know what you're thinking. She's so transparent. And I put my real picture behind it, and that got me my first lit agent.
Wow.
I was actually looking for an action, but that finally caught. I actually got a lot of phone calls from that. Some people were like, we can't represent you, but we just wanted to say that was really very clever. I was like, well, you can go fuck yourself then.
Right. Thank you. Yeah.
I never sent anything out or auditioned or anything. 'Cause
Really?
I had it. Well, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. My family didn't like me that much, and they weren't really like fans, you know? So I sort of had it in my head that why sending a picture of you or even auditioning, why is that guy going to like you?
Right.
Your mom doesn't really like
Yeah,
you.
yeah, that's fair.
So how are you going to impress this guy? And so I just had it in my head that no one liked me and it wasn't really going to work out. But if I could make something my own, then I would have to be in it because I would,
Yep.
it was a sort of, I got to play because it's my basketball.
Yes.
Even if I wouldn't
Ooh.
get picked.
That is
so
smart.
my
Yeah.
thing is like, I'm showing up, I'm bringing the basketball, and then I'll have to play because it's my ball.
What was your first thing where you showed up and?
Oh, I was actually reliving this with the Netflix folks today, talking about some projects. And I just want to say this. You guys are in town. You know the way this works.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks, I'm having these conversations with my group. We're going to meet at Netflix. We got to get there. We got a 10 a.m. with the head guy over there in animation. So we're going to meet at Netflix at, meet down in the parking structure at like 9:45, and then we'll go
in that
in
weird
at
lobby
10.
and have
right.
coffee.
A lot of
Yeah.
discussion about we're going to meet at Netflix. So then one of the guys I'm going to meet with, I meet here this morning at like 9:30, and I go, all right, where are we going? Netflix. All right, I'll put Netflix in my phone. So we put Netflix in. And then he goes, I got an email from another guy that says the parking's at 801 Gentry Street. And I'm like, well, aren't we just going to Netflix?
Right.
And he's like, said to park at 801 Gentry Street. And I'm like, then we start.
Right, animation's different.
Animation's
Yes.
different.
Yep.
Now, all I'm saying, in all the Netflix
Yeah.
discussion, could one person
person,
say,
no person.
we're not going to the Netflix you've
Right.
been
Going to the animation campus, which is totally different.
Yes, the huge building that says Netflix on it.
Yes.
That's not it.
Not there. Even though we're going to keep saying we're meeting at Netflix. We're going to, no one's ever going to carve out 8 seconds and go, Netflix animation, different building, different place, other part of town. No one's ever going to say that. We're just going to say we're going to meet at Netflix. That's all.
That is so funny. Yeah, they're not close. They're not. Walking
not.
And then at some point they go, I gave you the address. Yeah, but he just said the address and said, this is where you park.
Right.
So I don't know if I'm taking a shuttle. Could anyone just go, it's a different place?
Yes.
Anybody.
And it's nice, right?
Not-
The animation building is cool.
Yeah, it was by the time we found it. Yeah,
It was like, yeah, what time did you get there?
Well, luckily, we were going to arrive at the Netflix a little early, like 15 minutes early, and the place is like 10 minutes away. So we just got in.
Just got
But
there.
we were doing dueling ways because I was like, well, what's your address? It's 1.6 miles away. Can't be the same Netflix. Maybe they have a shuttle. But no one ever bothered to say Netflix
Yeah.
animation campus
No.
different
Oh my God.
place.
You would definitely not be getting the job if they made you shuttle in from a mile and a half away.
No,
They'd
yeah,
be
no.
like,
But somebody was asking, they want to know how I got signed. I said, I did my character, Mr. Burcham, on K-Rock Radio and Kevin and Bean show. I just did it for free. I just did my character on the air. And within like a month and a half, I got signed by Mark Itkin at William Morris.
wow.
And he just listened to the radio, and he was a Kevin and Bean or a K-Rock guy. they were going to do Loveline, the TV show, and they were going to syndicate it. And so he was just the agent, and did syndication packages, and he just listened to K-Rock at like the gym in the morning and stuff. And then I was on amp just for free. I was a carpenter at the time. And this guy was like, who's this guy?
That is amazing.
Yeah. So my little plan worked out.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have worked out if I handed out headshots. I don't feel.
Mine didn't either, handing out headshots.
I don't know.
I guess it did because I got
You did.
I got an audition at a unpaid theater company
Right.
on Santa Monica
And
Boulevard.
that's-
But
right.
that was
Where do you hail from?
I'm from Portville, New York, which is like a town of 1,000 people near Buffalo. So I just like knew nothing. I knew
Right.
0 people. Just came here like totally, like completely thinking I would make it, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know anybody.
I mean, everybody does. Everybody really thinks. I'm going to get off that bus, so to speak. I rented a car, Rent-A-Wreck. Do you guys remember when they had Rent-A-Wreck here?
Yes,
No.
I do.
Yeah, it was like $400 for the month for this like car.
Right.
It had tape on the windshield, and I remember being like, "This is it. This is how it starts." And I will take a picture of this car with my camera and get it developed and hold on to this picture so everybody can see where I started from. This is my story, my origin story. And guys, it was not. It did not lead to anything.
Did you think it was? I never thought anything was going to work out.
I thought everything was because when I first started in New York, I booked everything. The first 3 things you have that childlike optimism when you first start.
Yeah, my
And-
first movie won the Oscar. Yeah,
Yes,
you get
exactly,
that instant,
exactly.
and then you're like, oh, now
You're
it
like,
just
this
works
is-
out.
Yeah, it just works out. My friends were even like, everything works out for you. Like, yeah, people would see me performing improv on stage and they're like, you have to do this show, you have to do that. And then my first audition for a soap, I got it hungover. I was like, well, forget, because I was in musical theater at the time. I was like, fuck musical theater. So I was doing soaps. And then I did like one line in Law and Order. I was like, here's the verdict. I mean, it was like those things, but I was like, this is easy. It's
Yeah.
easy.
Right.
And then it was not.
It gets hard.
For 30 years after.
Well, don't worry. The next 60
It's
are
coming.
going to be killer.
Gonna get a meeting at Netflix.
Animation.
Yes.
Netflix animation.
Animation.
Yes.
Just stop.
Yes.
And all the conversations. Oh
my God.
There were 29 going to Netflix in a week. Got a Netflix meeting coming up on the 24th. We're going to meet tomorrow in Netflix. And all the back and forth. No one ever said, not the Netflix you're thinking
That
of.
is so funny.
I know, but it's perfect, isn't it?
Yes.
And we
I
found-
wrote an animated movie for Netflix.
You did?
Yeah. In 2019, I sold it to them. So it was like during the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
And then the first time I went in was at the new animation building.
I wish you'd give me a heads up.
Yeah, I should.
Yeah,
I know.
you should have
I didn't
known.
know.
So did they make it?
They started to. I don't know what's happening. They got a different writer after like 4 years. They were like, we're going to re-break it. I'm like, okay. Because that happens to every animated movie. And I don't know who started it. They like romanticize it where they're like, no, it used to be about a chipmunk and then we threw it all away and now it's an Ice Age movie. Like,
But it's the same movie. It's
Yeah.
the same,
Yeah.
but everything's different.
yeah, everything's like hero's journey. They just,
It's just
yeah.
different.
I don't get what the whole, like why they romanticize, like they threw it all away and then started
yeah, they
over.
make it seem like it's, the best decision they've ever made. And
Yeah.
It's going to be
But you sold them
Yep.
a feature.
Oh yeah.
Like a full length.
Yeah, I got paid to write it
animated
for
feature.
4 years. So that was good.
Ooh, did you do it on spec?
No, I just pitched it.
Oh,
And
you
then-
pitched
yeah.
it, and then they right. Yeah, I don't know how anything works. Like,
I don't either.
The other day, I was thinking about a Pixar thing. They were doing a thing. I don't know. It was like they did cars, and they were going to do planes,
Right.
and then they're going to do another planes. It's up the street here, and one guy was a big fan or whatever. I was in there. I was like pitching. I was doing voices. I was the colonel. I ran the place. I was there for like it was 6 months of like talking and showing sketches of my character and stuff like that. And like the other day, I was like, that was 7 years ago. What happened to any of? I mean, there were whole rooms with sketches and all the characters, and we were laying stuff down, and I was working with that actor and this actor, and it seems like a weird dream, right?
And it just goes away.
Goes away.
Where
just goes
is
away.
it? And then who paid for all of the sketches
Yes.
and all the
Where?
stuff and all the recordings? And
They hired all these artists, all
Yep.
these engineers, and
And then they just stop one day and you don't realize that that's the last day. Like, don't come in today. And then you just realize you're never coming in again.
no, that's not the last day. The last day is, I'll see you next week.
yes, yes.
And then you never see them again.
Well, that's
Like,
what I mean. That's the last day. You don't know it's the last day. You're just
Yes.
like, yeah, okay, bye. And then that's it.
It's a weird business that way.
Really weird.
It's
But that's why you kind of have to skipper your own ship.
You have to,
because if you don't create your own stuff, it all just kind of slides through the drain of life, right?
Yeah, and you're just auditioning.
Yes.
Doing,
I think you also
dumb
have to be
things.
open to like something new, possibly something that you didn't think you were like. If somebody pitches something to you, you know what I mean? A lot of people are just like, no, but it's like, just be open. Just think about it.
Yeah, I've been doing a one-person show. I never thought I would do that.
I did a
Where are you
one-person show
doing
too.
I did it in Edinburgh at the Fringe Festival.
Oh, really?
This past year. Yeah, it's about my infertility
I can't
journey.
wait to see it. I'm going to see it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's about not being able to have a baby.
I can't wait to see it.
And then, and I did it last night at the Elysian. So I've been just doing it. And
What are the well, I don't know. What's going on with the what's wrong? Why?
what's going on with what?
Well, I had
everything's
that
wrong.
situation too. And
You couldn't have a baby?
Yes,
So
I
many
could not
people
have
do.
because hey, look, if we're going to be pregnant, then
Listen,
I
I'm just
can't
wanting
have
to
a
know.
baby.
You can't. I get it. I'm
Yeah.
asking you. You can't carry a kid.
I once did a competition with Jimmy at a sperm clinic once for a man show bit, and I think we found out that while he had a greater sperm count,
Yours were better swimmers.
mine were better looking.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I didn't even know how they could tell. They have an electron microscope or
right.
something. Or
Wow.
maybe the guy was just a fan. I don't know. No, I said, yeah, mine were more mobile.
They would have been better if they were better looking. If they had gotten like one little shot. Can we get a shot of Adam's sperm on any screen, please?
It really was. It was the craziest bit. It was the first shoot for one of our female directors, and we didn't
gosh.
have.
Oh, wow.
We didn't have a lot of female directors, but we had a few. And this was her first shoot.
Oh my God. You actually went and gave a sample and did the
Yeah.
whole-
Oh,
wow.
yeah. We had a competition. Yeah. Speed.
Was that her last shoot as well?
No, her name was Beth Einhorn. She still works around, and I got along well with her.
Any of that sperm go missing? Like any of the samples go missing?
I felt like it was a little light. Like, when Mike August hands me the merch, when he hands me the merch money at the
I
end
feel
of the
like-
weekend, I go, this feels a little light.
Somebody was like, I'm
a
going to
little-
take this and I'm just going to inseminate myself. Real quick.
a little light.
Get a good looking Adam Carolla
Yes.
baby.
Yeah, I had to do.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. The picture.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. There you are.
We were at we went and had a race.
Did
to
you
test
guys
our
race to
sperm.
see who finished?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Did you guys both have like paraphernalia, like stuff to look at, or was it an even race? Is what I'm saying. Like, did one of you watch porn and one of you had a magazine, or what was it? It's got to be fair. It's got to be fair.
You can't have a situation where he has an unfair advantage,
That's right.
or
Or
I
you.
have an
Yeah,
unfair
no. So
advantage.
you had the same unfair-
Materials?
Yeah, same materials.
I don't recall us having any materials.
Were you in the room together?
No.
Well, yeah, but back to back. We were facing each other.
Okay,
What do you
good.
think,
Just
we're
making sure.
weirdos?
Just making sure.
No, we're in separate rooms that were separated by like a 28-inch hall.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And I beat him.
No pun
But
intended.
he'd also put himself back together before he stepped out and rang the bell. I just when I was done, I was done.
yeah.
I jumped
You
out.
washed your hands before you rang that bell, right?
He didn't. He didn't. Let's put it to you this way: if you would have factored in the 18 seconds it took him to get his pants up and cinched up and fly up and
Right.
shirt tucked back in and stuff, it would have been a dead heat.
All right.
It would have. It would have been a dead heat. Yeah. So sorry. So then I had to go through IVF.
Oh, gosh, yeah,
Later,
later.
which is its own thing because it's a different.
It's
It's
wild.
just a
I did
timing
years
thing.
of that. I
You
did
years.
everything. Yeah. I tried to
Right.
adopt for a long time. I did everything and then ended up making a baby in a lab and getting a surrogate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So how old's the baby now?
3.
Oh, 3. Mm-hmm. And is it Fred Armisen?
Yep.
You're married,
Yes,
right?
yes. But the baby's, I started dating Fred when the baby was in utero. So he's the dad, but not the
Right.
biological dad.
Right.
Yeah.
And so how do you figure out who's the biological? How do you work for that?
It's just a sperm bank, so I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh, you don't know?
Like
That's the best
867 dash
Oh, so you don't know.
But you picked out, I mean, to me, when I was looking for sperm donors, that was like the fun part to like look, you know what I mean? And pick out a sperm donor.
Do you look pictures
Oh,
and
you got
height
pictures.
and stuff?
It is a lot
get,
like a dating
baby
app.
pictures. It's
Baby pictures, you can hear their voice.
Oh, you could?
Oh, yeah. I could totally hear their voice. You can hear their voice? Yeah, I could totally hear it. They'd be like, hey, I like skiing and jerking off in cups. I don't know.
It might as well. For me, it's just that at that point in my journey, it'd been so long that I was just, it's like random.
Yeah,
I just did it for you, like just on health. Like,
health, for sure.
You just like know, with the egg donor and the sperm donor, there's no cross.
Right.
What's it called when a gene, like no gene mutations?
Mutations, yeah.
Or what's too recessive?
Yeah.
Two recessive genes. It was more that.
Right.
So you were focused on health,
and I was focused
whereas
on
Jodi's
looks.
more superficial. She wanted height. She wanted to know the guy's 401k.
Right. I mean, I don't care about that. I just want
blue-eyed, over 6 foot,
Yeah.
college
Well, there's
degree.
no short sperm donors.
Yeah, you can't.
They won't accept because all things being equal, the women pick the tall one just because it's not personal, you know. So they don't. You can't walk in think
You think the over/under is like 5'9.5" or something?
No, it's
5'10" or 5'11" or what
I think
is
it's
it?
actually 5'9". So there's a
5'9".
comic, Brenton Biddlecombe he talked at the Comedy Store. He literally says that he's too short to donate sperm. I think you have to be 5'9".
5'9" or something. Yes.
Yeah,
I'm picturing the counter being too high for him.
You have to be able to jerk up on this counter.
So they have a thing. Will they have like a cutout of Tom Cruise standing in the hall, and you got to go back to back with them?
This tall to donate.
Yeah.
They would take Tom's jizz, though.
Oh yes, of course.
If Tom Cruise walked
they'll
in,
make an exception. Yes.
The first time I tried to get pregnant, I went to the California Sperm Bank, the one in Santa Monica, because I was doing a double insemination. So I had sperm coming from one place, and then I went there to pick up sperm. And this guy walked in to drop off his sample, and I was like, I will fuck you right now. I will take that man right now. And I was ovulating because I had to get it real quick.
Right.
Anyway, I carried it. I drove in the carpool lane with that sperm over to the clinic.
5'8" or 5'9" are the particularly for the white donors. I see as I prioritize clients' preferences for taller children. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, just because it's kind of the only variable. Like, do you want a tall or short? It's like everyone would just go, I guess, tall. I guess every other variable could be different.
So you were going with the science and the health, but did you physically see a photograph of
just baby
the donor?
Pictures?
Baby pictures.
Yeah. But it's like
baby pictures.
It all feels random anyway.
Yes,
like
I
it
know.
can be the best looking parent and have
Exactly.
the worst looking. It just all felt at this point I was like so just tired.
Yeah.
And it just
Or you could have a real like battle royale, like Christy Brinkley and Billy Joel. Like who's gonna win?
Yeah,
We
who's
know.
taking
We know.
over? Yeah.
We know
we get
who
the
won.
ugly kid or not?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
We know who won.
Listen, they always win. That's how it goes. But so baby pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have
but
baby
it just
pictures.
like doesn't
Yeah, but it
matter.
doesn't-
It's just like
But that's weird to me. I don't know why baby pictures.
because some people want anonymity. Like they don't want you to be able to find them.
Oh, okay.
They don't want you to be able to take to locate them.
Yes.
But the baby then feels like I'd just do no pictures than baby picture.
Right.
But you can kind of see, you see what color they are.
Exactly.
And
You
then
get a
see the
general
cute baby.
idea of their.
Did yours have a baby picture? Did you go back and look at your son to that baby picture?
I've never thought about it again.
Okay. Yeah, I probably would go back and look because I look at my daughter's birth mom's pictures all the time.
I don't even think I have the stuff anymore. I've got I was like.
gone. Yeah, I mean, yes.
Because I was at the point where everything was. I just actually didn't think it would work. I was like, well,
Right.
let's try this.
Yeah.
Whatever. I was like waiting for that to fail, and then it didn't, and I was like, okay,
okay,
yeah.
great.
So it's baby picture guy's sperm and then egg of who?
Of random woman.
Random.
Yep.
And that's random as well. You don't.
You get more information on the women.
Right.
You get lots of information on the women.
I
Lots
had
of
a couple friends
pictures.
that were
Lots
surrogates.
of yeah.
And donated eggs too.
Yeah.
They pay them a lot of money, but you have to actually hit you have to pass a lot of tests.
Yeah, you have to do psychological tests.
Yes.
The men, it's kind of
They don't care.
Yeah, they just
Yeah,
don't.
they don't care.
That's the difference. Like
I know.
the women, it's a whole. But you have to have surgery and do.
Right.
Yeah, and you have the maternal.
Right.
Draw to so you have to have all sorts of things.
So then you get the surrogate, and the surrogate's a third
Yeah.
person.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And then you implant, and
Yep.
then you have a relationship with the surrogate.
Yeah, I'm going to her daughter's birthday on Saturday. Yeah, we're still
Oh, really?
friends. Yeah, we're friends because she lives here.
Yeah.
So
And then you make sure she's eating the right stuff and not drinking
didn't
or
even do
smoking.
that.
Didn't do that.
didn't do anything. It was just like I just still didn't think it would work. And
Yeah,
also
yeah.
she was just so steady and normal and had done it a bunch, had a bunch of healthy babies. And I'm like, I was like, she's fine.
Yeah.
And also they don't actually need to eat that healthy. They can't drink, but they actually
yeah.
don't because
Yeah, I
the
get
babies are parasites, so they get all the nutrients. And like
They take the good stuff.
yeah, they
Right.
take everything first. So
Right.
if she wants to feel good, she needs to eat
I feel
good
that way
stuff.
about my kids.
Yeah, they take it all first.
Yes, they're parasites.
Parasites
They
taking all the
stay-
good stuff first.
Always, yeah.
My daughter's birth mom does meth. She's a meth addict. And she's had, now 14 very healthy babies.
Like, it's
That,
kinda fine.
That honestly,
14?
yeah. So, my daughter has a half sibling now that my friends adopted.
Oh, wait. I thought your baby was Asian.
No.
Did I make that up?
What does that have to do with being 14 siblings?
The meth and the 14s
Right.
didn't really go down the Asian
No,
road.
no, she's not at all. Yeah, so
I don't know where I got that.
But here's what's interesting: when I was in the NICU with her, because she was preemie, there were a lot of babies that were detoxing, which is not funny, but they did assure, like, as soon as they were done detoxing, they would be totally healthy and
They're
really
fine.
fine. In fact, the worst thing a pregnant woman can do is drink. All of the drugs, it's like crazy. That's
Really?
the worst thing you can do in utero. Having said that, I was talking to them about so many crack babies, meth, heroin. So when a woman gets pregnant, if she's addicted to heroin, what she'll do so the state doesn't take her baby, she'll go on methadone, which is just basically legal heroin, so that
Yeah.
the state doesn't. Guess what methadone is? It's a fertility aid.
So they
That's
have
a
more.
design flaw.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So here we are eating organic,
Yeah.
being really healthy.
Yeah. It doesn't
and
matter.
Doesn't, right.
So now she has somebody adopted
My really good friend,
another baby that,
my daughter's half brother.
right.
Yeah.
So it's half same mother.
Same mother. He's 2, my daughter's 4. Yeah. And they have another son that's 6.
That's so cute.
He's really cute. We just saw them for the holidays and they're just adorable. I mean, they look so much alike, sound so much alike. It's just really, it's very special that she's going to get to grow up knowing
Is the
him.
mom still on drugs?
She is. She's actually, we communicate with her often, send her pictures, and we send her food like maybe once a month. Like from this, she has an apartment, so we send her like groceries. You know what I mean? Yeah, she just had a horrible life, but she's a very funny person. She cracks me up. I always think like if she had a different life, if she had been adopted, because she was dropped off at Child Protective Services when she was like 9. Her parent. Anyway, if she had been adopted, who could she have been? She's so funny. She's just a funny person.
My surrogate's really funny too. My surrogate, the first Mother's Day after we matched, she dressed up in a Handmaid's Tale outfit and just sent me a photo of herself and said under his eyes.
Amazing.
Yeah, she's the
great.
best.
Yeah.
My surrogate is like the Carol Leifer of surrogates. So I don't want to be a one-upper, but she writes for Seinfeld. I mean,
okay.
she's a super funny surrogate. And I'm sure you guys are like cute funny
Yeah.
or funny for a surrogate.
Sure.
I
But
mean-
my surrogate's funny for a comedian.
And your sperm is so hot. You have the hottest sperm in town.
The guy
Full head
said,
of hair.
Jimmy said more, but mine were better
Could you
looking.
imagine if the sperm just had a full head of hair, just like your hair on the sperm?
Oh, what a journey, everybody! What's with it, man? God, my parents. Me and my sister had to be a mistake. We had to be.
It's just
we
the
had to be.
age that you have them.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
just harder. They don't
Yes.
really tell you. They're like, you can have babies till you're 40. It's
Right.
like, I get, maybe.
I
Like,
think they
not
mean,
really.
what's true is that our uteruses don't age the same way, what our ovaries do. So my gynecologist was like, your uterus is great. And I'm like, well, I work out, so obviously. But but she's like, yeah, you can definitely carry a baby. So we can carry a baby. It's just the egg quality. Yeah, I think it's a design flaw, too, that we're most fertile like in our teen years.
I know,
And we
it's
should
so
start getting our
dark.
periods at 25.
Yes.
Until
Oh, that'd be
like 50.
perfect.
And then, you know what I mean? But I did read a statistic for the first time ever. More women over 40 are having babies than teenage girls. It's the first
Really?
time ever.
Whoa.
That's good.
It is good. It is amazing.
Well, so Fred, who did Crank Yankers,
Oh, he did?
by the way.
Oh, I bet he's great at that.
Oh, he's great at it because he He did a few characters. He did one I was trying to find, but I couldn't find it. But he did an American Indian, but it was great because it was very subdued.
Yeah, everything's so
Quiet.
subtle, yes.
And he was calling a place he bought a dream catcher from. and he was having wild dreams.
Oh my God.
And he wanted it recalibrated or whatever because his dream catcher was fucking him up badly.
Catching the wrong ones. That's
Right.
so funny.
It's a funny premise.
so funny.
And if we had a computer that had stuff labeled on it, we could find it, but I can't. No one was able to do that. But
that song we heard, Fred drummed on it. He was.
Oh, he did. Then I was going to ask two things. So he's a musician, and he did stand up for drummers, or he did a special.
Stand
right?
up for drummers, yeah.
Right, it was funny. So he's a musician. So you guys should be able to make beautiful music together.
Yeah, that's
right?
how we kind of met. We met
Right.
like 15 years ago. I think through just like musical comedy stuff, just around. And
Were you like attracted to him right away, or
No, I wasn't. No, I was like, I used to want to like date like a regular guy.
Yeah.
I didn't want to date a showbiz. I
Right,
didn't want
yeah.
to date an actor.
Yeah, I get it.
Everyone I dated was like an accountant or something, like a lawyer. Like
Right.
that was my type. And then, then things changed.
Yeah. Well,
Well, yeah.
women don't need to be initially attracted to the guys. It can come later on.
Yeah.
I feel like men probably need the initials.
I need a little
Attraction.
bit. I need a little bit of attraction.
Well, you're wired like a dude. You got a dude wiring.
Oh, it's not
You
that I
and
didn't
Megyn
think he
Kelly.
was. It's not that he was in a
There are women
relationship.
that have dude wiring. That's
Right.
good.
No, yeah. I mean,
It's a healthy libido.
right.
They speak their mind, you know.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It's like I've definitely met men that I thought they were attractive, but I wasn't like there was nothing there. And then a couple
That's what
years
it was.
later,
It wasn't.
yes.
It's not that I was like, oh, he's so unattractive. It's just
Right.
he was in a relationship.
Yes.
I wasn't
So
looking to
we
date a
turned that-
comedian.
we turned that part of our brain off. We're like, oh yeah, that's
we are trained how to turn that off.
Yes,
because
we are.
If it's on a little too much, you get.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
You start getting penalized. People are like,
Yeah.
yeah. You start having
I don't know
problems.
if guys can turn that off. Can you turn that off?
Well, they don't have to really. Well, I guess they do now. Maybe.
Well, if you saw a woman, she's like, oh my god, but she's married or whatever. You just can turn that off, right? Or
I just did it 37 minutes ago, ladies. If that shit was on right now, this would be a different show.
yes, but
Okay. All right. Blondie, redhead.
we would get a nice close up.
Oh,
of
yeah.
that full
Middle-aged
hair
love.
sperm. Yeah.
middle-aged love. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's so funny. It's so true.
Doing my best creepy voice. For
Pretty
you.
good. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
Sounded a lot
I-
like your regular voice. But
I don't, I think guys, I don't know. I never really had the lechy thing, but I always had low self-esteem. So I was always like, well, that person, why would they like you? You know, so that was my mantra.
And I'm sure they like
Yeah.
you more because
Yeah.
girls are like, no, what? Like, yeah, they're not coming on if they have that attitude.
With Fred, I just had to like tell him.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Does he have a little like idiot savant or something in him? Is he on the spectrum of something? Like
don't know
he's
that-
such an unlikely comedic
Yeah.
presence, but yet he's so talented. But he doesn't possess a lot of the stuff that comedians possess.
No, he's just kind of normal. I think, but he definitely is brilliant. But I don't think he's on the spectrum. I think he just is odd. He's just his own little thing.
Right.
He's in his own like Fred world and always has been, and just sort of exists in this like plane of
That's so
reality.
great.
Yeah.
So you're doing songs, and he's a musician, but he doesn't do the novelty songs, or
No,
does
he
he? Or
doesn't.
we call him that?
He did for SNL, but he hasn't really
Oh, right.
done them since.
Right.
So.
But you come up with the song, and then he drums on it.
Yeah.
And then are you bouncing it off him, or do you not looking for his input? Because that
Not
can be a little
really.
tough sometimes.
I might maybe eventually. We've only been
Right.
married like 3 years, so I don't know. It's like no, we're still like impressing each other. I still come to him with like full songs and play like I don't know. Not really. No.
And then how was he with the bun in someone else's oven?
He couldn't have been. It was like nothing was happening. It was just like
he thinks he's dating you,
Yeah.
but he doesn't know there's something
Right.
else going
Oh
on
no,
over
he
here.
knew. He knew. We were all
Well-
in Romania together, and all like I was talking about nothing else. I was like, I have a
Right.
baby on the way. It's
But
working. Yeah.
I mean, but first you got to get to Romania,
Yes.
as they say.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it's like you have to go on a date with him first, right? Like
Right.
there has to be some point where you have to, like herpes, right?
Totally. Yes.
Oh, but yeah, when you tell him, Adam, the first time you told me you had herpes, I was
somewhere
like, that's fine. You
gotta
can
bring
still
it
Between
up.
salad
Yes,
and the
shake my hand.
entree, you got to weave the herpes in
Well,
there. Like
my opening offer to him was boyfriend before we'd even gone on a date. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we'd been in Romania together, like just having dinner every night and talking, and he doesn't.
What? Tell me about Romania. Why?
We were
Romania?
filming the TV show Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
And it's
So
sort
you
of
were working
isolating
together,
and, yes.
right?
But
Oh,
we were
okay.
always in groups, and I was like starting to have feelings, and I was like, what do I do? Like it was unprofessional. So I was
Right.
like, I feel like I couldn't say anything. So I
Right.
waited till his last day,
Mm-hmm.
and
you
then I
asked
was
him?
like, then I sent him a text. I was like, so like.
What'd the text say?
I was basically like, I think you should be my boyfriend. Like, I know this is crazy bad timing. I'm having a child in 2 weeks. But that's how I feel. So
And what did he say?
he said, is this for me? Like he didn't think, because I wasn't like flirting with him. He didn't know it was for him. And then, and then we went on our first date the next night.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. But I was just like, I've just known him for so long. I'm like,
Right.
I don't go on a date. Like, let's just either like try
Right.
this or not.
Now,
like,
is it-
just like, it
Right.
wasn't like that.
You're not going to admit this, but is that tall blonde confidence right there? Like, hey, new boyfriend who doesn't even know it?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're honest.
Yeah.
That's fine. You're tall, you're blonde, you're beautiful.
Everyone's like
and you
alone
can
in
kinda-
Romania. I was like,
It's in Romania.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was, and also like I was just, I don't know. Everyone kind of knows everything. Like everyone, like I was like, I think he'll say yes. I don't know why. I just like,
Yeah, you just knew. You knew.
yeah. And I had to leave. I was like, I don't want to. Yeah, I just want to let's just see what he says.
Right.
And he was into
And it worked out.
And then you went on a date the next night, and did he give you some insight? Like, I was thinking about you too, or any of that stuff?
Not really. No, no. He was just like, yeah, great, yeah. And I was like, cool. And like, it was just like, let's see what happens. Let's try it. And then, it worked out. It was, because I thought I'd be like a single mom with a boyfriend.
Right.
And then, it went better than that. It was
Well,
surprising.
really?
Yeah.
So wait, you guys got married after the baby was born?
Yep. Like 3 months after. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know.
So
It was
cute.
so weird. It was just like, I couldn't find like there was no inn. I kept trying to find an inn. He doesn't drink. There was a curfew in Romania because of COVID. I couldn't ever get him alone. I was like, I have no choice but the truth. And like, and doing like he was leaving, I was leaving. There was no, like, I couldn't just be like, hey, maybe you want to get, no, it was like, ugh, fuck it.
I thought you were going to say there's a curfew in place because it was Romania.
No, like,
I know.
I was just like, because of course,
Yeah,
it's Romania.
Of course.
There's curfew.
Yeah.
Does he live in Los Angeles?
yeah.
And so you lived. At least you knew you were both coming back to Los Angeles.
Yes.
At least there was that.
And we'd been friends for 15 years. So it was just
Oh, right.
it was like, and we'd like hung out several times as friends. Like it was I couldn't hide the ball. I couldn't be like,
Had he always wanted kids?
no.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
And great and amazing. Everybody told me when I became a mom, they were like, this is so great. Now you're going to meet the guy because you have the baby. I'm like, really? They're like, it's just going to happen. And it's been 4 years.
Are you on a dating app or service or anything?
I mean, I've been on a lot. And by the way, that's the thing. Guys never, even though I have my daughter in multiple pictures, I mean, not like her face per se, it's in pictures. I put it in the opening thing, I'm a mom of whatever, however old she is. And yet they still act so surprised when I'm like I could be giving birth in one of the pictures and they would still be like, I thought that was your niece.
No, because they look at one picture and pick yes or no. They don't read
No,
anything.
yeah, they're looking at my
They
tits.
just go yes,
That's it,
no,
completely.
yes, no.
Even
Yeah.
if there's a child on my boob,
Yeah.
they're still just like, move her out of the way. I've actually gotten to the date and been like, yeah, my daughter, and he's like, wait a minute, you have kids? It's like, it's bizarre.
Is a first date, is that fun or good or awkward and weird? I mean, there's an argument to be made for either one.
It's, I think right now, and I don't know if you went through this on the dating apps, there's two types of people. People that just want to just text back and forth, message back and forth, and
Forever.
never
meet.
ask you out. And
Really?
it's really annoying.
Really?
It's really annoying. Or they're like, let's get on the phone real quick. And I'm like, no, let's meet. And sometimes that's great because then I'm not even going to meet you for coffee. But I would rather actually get out of the house, meet you for coffee, maybe a drink, 1 hour. Let's just see. You know what I mean? Because to be honest with you, I feel like there's so many people that I've passed on the app that if I met them in person, I probably would like them, and vice versa. So I want to meet you immediately. I don't even want to talk to you on the phone because, again, that's something. Sure, we might like have something in common, or we're laughing on the phone. I need to actually see you in person. You know what I mean?
Get the feel.
Yeah, get the feel.
Yeah.
Here's a question: how big a drop off should there be in person versus the picture? Now, here's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So recently, I went and looked at a house to buy, and the photographs were amazing, and it was staged wonderfully, and it was just done in such a way, the view, the house, the home, it just looked magnificent, right? And so I was like, well, this is going to get snatched up in a second. This is going to go above asking, all the stuff that's going on. And then I went and saw the house, and it was like, it's not really what I was meant. And the kitchen was a little banged up, and it needed work, and nobody bought it is the answer. And all the other houses were like going for above asking.
Right.
So I was speculating, and I thought, I think they did a little too good a job with the picture and the furniture because you walk into the place and you go,
drop-off's too big.
Yeah. Now, everyone wants the best foot forward, and you want to be the best version of you. And as a home, I would say this for a realtor, like you want it to look good, but don't have people walk in and kind of go, oh.
Yeah, no, you want the right people walking in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So in terms of the picture on the site,
I think there could be a 30% drop-off.
30.
Yeah.
30?
Yeah.
30's that's sizable.
Yeah, because it's like lighting and like your best.
It is all those. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. So many of you take the worst photos.
I know a lot of times it's a nice surprise. They're better.
Actually, they are better.
Yeah.
It's just some pictures are so awful, and there are so many tells too. If you're sitting in every picture, you're short. You're not 5'9". You're 5'6". I have to see you standing up against something. And if you have a hat on in every single picture, you're bald. So now we can and that's okay. And then I mentally prepare myself.
Right.
And if you actually do have hair, what a pleasant surprise.
Yes.
But I guess 30%. I don't know. Then, I guess that would.
I feel like 30's stretching it.
Really?
30 sounds.
I think
30's
maybe,
a decent.
Well,
over
then they have to be
25%
nice.
is
yes,
the drop.
they have to have. Yes, their personality has to make.
Oh,
up
you
for
guys
that
are
30
factoring personality?
Well, if they're
forget it
cool
now.
and then right.
Yeah.
I feel like they can be.
And then that's actually worse when you do meet them in person and pretty instantaneously that you're like, I'm not into this guy, but they are so awesome, like a cool person, and then you like try to convince yourself, well, like maybe, like how many drinks would it take for me to, and then you have two and you're still like, I'm not kissing this person. But they're so cool and you're just like, God, you're just so, I wish it was.
Well, I think there's a spectrum of flexibility sexually here. And what I'm hearing, girls, is that Riki seems to have a little more leeway physically.
Yes, big time. Yeah.
Which is a blessing.
Yes.
Listen, I know dudes who got a lot of leeway, and I'm jealous of those guys because I would go. So imagine me, I'm driving a Isuzu Trooper. I'm living in an apartment with two dudes. I'm working construction, making $11 an hour, but I need a model. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like,
and she had
all
to go
right,
to Harvard. Yeah.
Right. So be prepared to have some real dry spells if that's where you're at. And it was. That's where I was at. I was like, I need the hotties.
Right.
And they're like, all right, well, you drive a Isuzu Trooper and you have two roommates. So
you're gonna be alone for a
be
while.
prepared.
Yeah. Well, I think there's two ways to there's some people who will take scraps in the meantime, and I'm one of those. Some people are like, I have high self-esteem, I will not lower my standards, and I totally will, rather than being alone. As long as you know it's scraps, it's fine.
Right.
Someone who's not that nice to you. When I mean scraps, I don't mean physically. I mean the people who are texting you
I thought
late
you
at
meant the
night.
dog.
No. Like people who
Scraps, come here, boy.
Yeah, people who are inconsistent. They're not that nice. They're not that they give you last minute plans kind of people.
Last minute plans.
I will take that if I have nothing else going on.
Right.
Other people are like, no, I have high self-esteem and I won't accept that treatment. And I'm like, oh, I fully will but if I have anything better going on, I'll not do that.
I guess I don't do that. And to be honest with you, my standards aren't that high. They really aren't. The truth is that I know what it feels like to really be attracted to someone, whether I just met them or I've known them for years.
Or they're walking in with sperm.
Or they're walking in with really attractive sperm. I know right away. But I'm like, if it doesn't just happen after a couple dates, and I'm not just going to count them out after one, I'm not going to like make myself, settle in a way. I just can't. I would rather be alone, and that's okay too. You know what I mean? I just know that it exists. I know that feeling exists. So now it's like, if it's not there after a couple dates and it's probably not going to be there, then I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I guess I'm talking about something else. I'm talking about like you're attracted to them, but they're not like that nice, and they're just dating a zillion people. They're treating you like you're disposable.
Well, then I usually just fuck those people for a while.
That's what I'm
Yes.
saying.
Oh, I do that.
No, I'm not talking people you're not attracted to. I'm talking people who are like treating you like you're disposable.
Oh, I did that too.
Yeah, just for the meantime.
But I knew. But as long as you know. As long as you know.
Yes.
This person. Yeah, that's why I dated a lot of young
and
guys.
you can't ever change your plans for them. You have to like act accordingly.
They literally will text you like an hour before, like, what's going on?
Yes.
Where have you been, stranger? Like they act like, you know what I mean?
I had a dream about you.
Yeah, I had a dream about you. That's a great one too.
Well, where are you at now? So what are our parameters? What are we looking for, Jodi? Certain age, certain profession, income, height?
No, I mean, I don't know, 35, 40 to 60? Might go right on there. Financially stable, emotionally available, definitely, and probably geographically available. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm open to.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what app you on?
Oh, God, all of them. Hinge, Bumble.
It's kind of a fun pastime, though, right?
It's
To
fun
sit
when
down
you're
and-
really bored. Yes, it is fun, and it gets a little exciting when you're like, oh, yeah. And then what happens is you're just texting back and forth. Even if you're like, let's get together, it's like, cool. And then they'll immediately go right back to the app and be like, hey, gorgeous. Like, first of all, that's a big turn off.
Yeah.
I've never met you, and they'll be like, morning, gorgeous. It really creeps me out. It's like, first of all, not gorgeous in the morning, so just settle down. But like, also like, it feels weird and inauthentic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like guys sort of make the same mistakes over and over again historically, and I don't
Hey,
really
beautiful.
get it.
Hey, beautiful.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
It worked like one time, and then like, I guess I do this for everyone.
If we're together, then I'd love to hear that.
It is interesting how dating apps have made like everyone get rejected all the time. Like it's like how, actors get rejected all the time. Like now everyone's got
everybody.
that.
Yes, you're
Because
right.
you just constantly you have to just deal with this high level of like no. Like people just swiping away from you.
Constantly.
Yeah.
I never been on an app, so I didn't know.
Really?
Never know how it worked.
We get it. Your sperm is really hot. We get it.
That's what the technician said.
I think most guys feel like they like who miss the apps feel like, oh, I'm really missing out, and I really like. There's all this free sex everywhere. I'm like, that's not true.
It's not true.
No. There's a lot of work, a lot of first dates you have to take people on, a lot of texts, a lot of
people do go on it so they don't feel the in-your-face rejection. You know what I mean?
I don't. I think the first date is sort of a question of how do you feel about yourself, or how is your sort of resume?
Right.
So I actually sound pretty good on paper.
Right.
Once you get to know me, it's a different kettle of fish. But I mean, I have an interesting life, and I would look pretty good if I was just telling someone what happened.
Right.
Well, I was this, and then I was that, and then I did this, and then I did that. And here's the stuff I like to do.
Yeah.
It sounds like, oh, that sounds attractive.
Yeah.
So I guess the first one is sort of like, weird. It's funny. It's stuck in my head. I remember where I was when I was getting divorced. Jimmy Kimmel found out about it, and I was on a walk in my neighborhood, and I was like not feeling good, about it. And he called me, and he just did, heard, getting divorced, and hey buddy, call, and he just at some point he stopped and he goes, let's look at it this way. You're going to meet somebody new, and they've heard none of your stories. I was like, I perked up. I was like, oh, yeah, I got all my high school football
So many
stories. I got the man show stories. Like, I got a bunch of stories that this
Then you're going
person.
to meet that person's friends. They've never heard the stories.
They've never heard the stories.
Oh, my God.
It's going to be epic.
Funny.
Yeah, that was so funny. When we were talking about sperm donating, being a sperm donor, I was literally pitching these Netflix guys this like episode of this animated show that I was in love with, and I never got to do it, but maybe I will. But I remember doing the sperm donor thing, and
Is that how you What is that?
That's
Is
my
that how
move.
You,
that's
your
my move.
Yeah.
Well, I rosin up first. So that's, and then I throw the rosin back
peeling
down.
a potato.
Yeah.
You're just like, when I did the sperm donor.
The sperm. Okay, so the sperm donor thing is interesting because the lab or whatever, the clinic was like 40 minutes from where I lived. And then they did it's longer than 20 minutes, then you
Right.
got to produce a sample on site.
Right.
And now here's the problem. The problem is what the doctors say. Because here's what I've learned in life. If there's a ladder and the ladder says rated up to 300 pounds, it'll hold 700 pounds.
Okay.
Yes.
But for safety reasons,
Right.
they have to say this. You know what I mean? And how many times it happened to you where you're doing some procedure in the morning and they go, no liquids or
Right,
solids
yeah.
after midnight, right? And then 6 months later, you're doing another thing, but this is 4 PM, and they go, no liquids or solids after midnight. And you go, after midnight? Because 8:45 in the morning was after midnight. Now this is 4 p.m.
Right.
Nothing after midnight. Okay, but they're just reading a piece of paper.
Yes, right.
They don't mean nothing after midnight. You could eat something at 5 PM, you'd be fine. So that's how I am in life. But women go, this is what, no water, no, whatever, those are the rules. So I'm arguing with my wife. I'm going, look, I can do it. I'm a fast driver. You know what I mean? Like
You're supposed to keep it between your boob, well, your wife's boobs. But if you do, you're supposed to keep it against your body to keep it warm. Yeah.
All right. Listen, I can do it in the privacy and comfort of my own home. Like, no, you live more than 20 minutes away. So I had to go down there, and it's a weird, it's an interesting procedure. But in the episode, the guy who's a construction guy, is a shop teacher, Mr. Burcham. Okay. Same thing. They're this far away.
Right.
You got to do it on site. He doesn't want to do it on site. He's not even been to this clinic or whatever, but at some point his wife's like, we paid for it. It's go time. You're doing it. Otherwise you're going to be out $5,000 for nothing or whatever it is. And he's like, fine. And as he comes pulling into like the mini mall where the place is, he's like, this old man Drucker's hardware store used to be in this place. And sure enough, that's where the clinic was. And it's like, when I was a kid, my dad would take me to this place. God. And some of the greatest memories I had was when my dad was alive, we would walk. I am not desecrating his, and she's like, we're on the clock. You're on the clock right now. And he's like, and he's trying to peel one off, but he's picturing himself on his dad's shoulders, and old man Drucker behind the counter, and he's like, get out of my head.
Oh, you know what you could have done, though, if you lived 40 minutes away, and it had to be, if it's 20 minutes, you could have just driven 20 minutes, jerked off in your car, and then driven the rest of the way.
But what if you got caught? if Adam got caught jerking off in his car, no one would believe.
Just jerk off in the lot of the place. Yeah. You know what I mean? I still feel like that's fine, right?
Although the next celebrity that gets caught jerking off in public, they should say, no, I'm on my way to donate sperm.
Yes.
They should. That's
Weinstein's like, I was going to take that ficus plant over to the clinic.
Yes.
Donating it to research.
Listen, I'm good, but I'm not so good that I could stand in a parking lot at 2 in the afternoon.
You're in your car. Just pull the seat back. Come on.
Yeah, but I think you have to.
Well, then sit up and then cover the window. I mean, come on.
I don't know.
Every guy's jerked off in the car at least once, right?
Really?
I don't know. I just put that out there.
Yeah,
I just wanted to see what he was going to say. Yeah, okay.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. I didn't know, but he just answered it. Yeah, every guy's jerked off in the car.
Yeah, look, Fred's not going to level with you when you're going to start looking
and that
down.
Is the first question she's asking when she gets home.
Yes. Question 1, will you be my boyfriend? Question 2.
Did you jerk off in a car at any point in your life?
I would say most guys have jerked off in a car.
I've seen it. Have you ever been on the road and see it? It's disgusting.
I've seen it in a 7-Eleven parking lot. It was really gross.
I've seen it on the highway. On the highway. So
really?
I was smiling. It was me. We were like 17-year-old girls. And he was smiling at us. And we were like, oh my God, we're so cute. And he was just jerking.
You were his muse.
I mean, all right. Okay. I'll take it.
So listen, if you want to know if your man has ever jerked off in a car, here's what you do. No. You just go back. When you see Fred, you go, oh my God, so disgusting. I was on the road and I stopped at a red light and I looked over and there's some dude beating off in his car. And if Fred goes, well, we don't know what kind of day he was having. that means that's a compadre.
Yeah.
If he joins you in disgust,
what?
What? Did you get his license? You get the plate?
You can't word it like that, though.
No.
It can't be some gross guy on the road. It has to be like Adam was saying that he recently jerked off in his car.
Yeah. No, you got to do the
lot.
other thing. You got to go, can I tell you something? I saw this guy jerking. It really
was
turned
kinda
me
hot.
on. And like,
Yes.
is that,
that'll get it out
then
of
he'll
him.
be like, I've done it. Or whatever. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Then he can be
There
like,
you go.
gross. Yeah.
Gross. You gross
It's that female subterfuge. It's the opposite of the prank calls. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But then in the car, in the lot, it's a public place.
Yeah.
It's daytime hours. Do I put one of those windshield screens up?
Jerking off. It's just
Call
on
the
the other
police.
side. Collecting samples. That's what you just put up there, and then people know to leave you alone.
All right, let me say this. Skinny Jodi Miller's got a very funny stand-up special called Decades in the Making, which is out on YouTube. And I just found out my dry bar stand-up special's out on YouTube as well, which I didn't know was going to be out this soon. But you can see my clean
I will see it.
version on YouTube for free, or you can watch the maniacally filthy Jodi Miller.
Yes.
Decades in the Making. Very funny. Shot at the Ice House out here. All right. I think we'll take a quick break. We'll come back with the girls. We'll do a little news after this. Shopify. Well, starting a business. It's intimidating. There's so much you got to do. You need to get competent people around you and good partners like Shopify. Finding the right tool that not only helps you out, but simplifies everything can be such a game changer for millions of businesses. That tool is Shopify. Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand style. You'll be able to get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Right, Dawson?
Established in 2025 has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Carolla, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Carolla to start selling with Shopify today. Shopify.com/Carolla.
See what's screaming free all month long during Pluto TV's April Ghouls. Get your heart pounding with nightmare-fueling classics like Insidious and Bram Stoker's Dracula. Or test your nerves with haunting hits like Urban Legend and Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Pluto TV has hundreds of channels and thousands of terrifying movies, live and on demand. Download Pluto TV on all your favorite devices and start streaming now.
Adam Carolla Comes Clean, now available from Angel Studios.
I was traveling during COVID. It was a horrible time for commercial air travel. It depended where your flight crew was from. Like if you got a flight crew who was based in Houston, no problema. You get some 6-year-old chick and she just go sit there, wear the mask, don't wear the mask. I'm gonna sit in this jumper seat and smoke. We're probably not gonna make it. But the worst 7 words you could hear on a flight during COVID times was, on behalf of your Seattle-based flight crew.
Watch Adam Carolla Comes Clean free on Angel at angel.com/Adam free. And join the Angel Guild and save 50% on your first 3 months at angel.com/Adam Carolla. Adam Carolla Comes Clean, now available through Angel Studios. Let's get back to the Adam Carolla Show.
All right. Skinny Jodi Miller in studio. Riki Lindhome as well in studio. Comedy album. Sounds funny. No worries if not. Available as we speak on all the great platforms.
Yes.
All right, so Andrew's in the other room, right? Were you going to do the news from in there? Oh,
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's a great. Oh, I
Thanks.
love
Great
that.
picture.
Title on my boobs.
I love it.
Yeah, just to.
Just so people see your boobs.
Yeah, yeah.
I get it. It's fine.
All right, go ahead. What's our first story?
Okay, JoJo Siwa realizes she's not a lesbian after cozying up to celebrity Big Brother UK co-star Chris Hughes.
Wait a minute.
Wait.
Wasn't what's his name on that?
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey
and
Rourke.
he left because he was insulting her.
Yes, but he was calling her a lesbian, right?
Yes.
So
Is
maybe
I thought
that
she was. Is she's just non-binary? What is she?
Maybe
sorry.
she's bi.
Is she bi?
I don't know.
I feel bad.
I've
really
not
don't
watched
know.
Celebrity Big Brother, so I don't know. But it sounds like maybe.
Is
No, she was lesbian, and
She
now,
was. Oh, now she knows she's not because she wants to have sex with this guy.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
So she's-
story.
Is she bi?
Oh, is she saying she's straight?
Yeah, well, no, I think she's saying she's bisexual.
Oh,
Well, look at that.
Yeah, I
look.
mean, they are cozying up. That seems
that's-
real.
She's. Yeah, that's
that
how-
looks
it's-
bi.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's- no car needed. He's jerking off right there.
Yeah, that's right. That's his parking lot. He's parked his lot right between her butt. I don't know. Women in the lesbian, the novelty is worn off for me. It used to be a big deal. It was a big deal. Like you found out your girlfriend, I had a roommate once and we played spin the bottle. It was a big deal. Now it's like, all right, you
Nobody
hoes, you're all
cares.
just fucking each other. I don't even
cares.
care. No, I
I've
didn't care
never,
anymore.
by the way. I'm very-
Everybody. Nothing? Neither?
No, I've never. I'm very straight.
Wow. I told you had that dude wiring.
Yes, my ex-boyfriend once told me, I wasn't upset, but he's like, you are so straight. He wanted to do a threesome. He's like, you're just so straight. I'm like, okay. I don't know what, like,
Guilty.
okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Do you want a blowjob now or not?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
what are we talking about here?
Oh, you're not. Oh, I thought you were asking me. I'd wait till after the show is what I was going to answer with, but I see that was to him. So look, I'm a meat and potatoes dude. You know what I mean? Like whatever you're into. Like I know guys that like watching women crush cockroaches and stilettos out of Germany and stuff, and I'm like, just give me some titties.
Yep. Yeah.
Are they broken? Is it broken? Is a blowjob broken? Are titties broken? They're fine. We're good.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm just that way too. Just sort of. I say meat and potatoes, like, yeah, a steak and a martini and a baked potato.
Yeah.
It's never out of style.
Agreed.
I'm always
Agreed.
good. I'm up for it. Let's do it. That's a good night out.
Yeah.
I don't know where everyone needs the extra accoutrements in the bedroom.
I think it's people who get exposed to porn too early.
Yes.
Oh, is that what's going on?
Yeah, because they get bored. Like they need more and more. Like by the time they're 40,
yeah.
they're like, well, I've seen all that.
Every
Like,
category you can imagine. And then some that you're like, how is this a category? You know what I mean? It's just crazy.
But, I'll tell you, the thing about the porn category is that's who you really are.
Yep.
Like whatever it says, if it says, tons of fun MILF or whatever,
Yes.
you thought you're going in the busty section.
No,
Oh,
no.
They,
That's
whatever
what you're getting.
label.
Yeah.
Mine would be hairy and unfunny.
And click.
yes.
All right, so I don't care what she is. So I'm done with her. She was a child star. She sold rainbow, suspenders or bows or something, and now she's doing something. I don't care. There's too many. First off, too many celebrities.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot. Everybody's a celebrity, and no
Yes.
one's a celebrity.
Right.
Right.
It's crazy. Nobody knows a whole bunch of people that I know. They're like, who? And then people would be like, you don't know this person? I'm like, no, who? It's just too many. Too many.
We had, when I was growing up, and I'm older than you guys, we had like the cast of The Love Boat.
Yes.
And then the cast of Chips.
Right.
And it's like, that's who our celebrities
Yes.
were. And then we had room for like 3 game show hosts
We
that
had
you could
movie
sprinkle
stars,
in.
too, though. You had
Oh, yeah,
big
we had movie
movie
stars.
stars,
We had
right.
movie stars. And that was that.
Yeah.
That was it. Now it's, you don't know 3 Chainz? And I'm like, I'm not into rap. Oh, this guy just sold out the Burning Man.
But they're also like TikTokers. People will be like, you don't know this TikTok. I'm like, no. Why would
Right.
I? What do
I
you
know.
mean?
I don't know any influencers.
I don't. Neither do I. Not
Right.
at all.
All right, so we're not influenced. What else? We got another story?
The Office star Rainn Wilson rips left-leaning media during interview with MSNBC host, claims Biden coverage fosters mistrust.
This got a lot. This made the rounds, but I don't really know why. But we can watch a clip of it.
This is where I would push back, and in a lot of ways, I'm as lefty as they come. But when I see this kind of insight and passion being directed at the current administration, and the lack of this kind of insight and passion being directed at the previous administration, where again, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about left-leaning news media organizations were kind of like, la, 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 everything's fine. Look, the economy's great, la, 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 immigration's not that much of a problem. And really being Cleopatra, queen of denial. Thank you. Boom.
Well, I got a controversial question for you ladies, which is, well, let's think about this. I'm going to try to be magnanimous or something.
Okay.
But the deal is this. All the folks at MSNBC are Democrats, and all the folks at NPR are Democrats.
Yes.
Okay, and look, historically, things had to be that way. You were this or you were that. Like you'd be... Tommy Lasorda was a Democrat or a Republican or whatever Tommy Lasorda was. We didn't base who's starting in today's game on where their affiliation was. He just was.
Yes.
Quietly, and then he'd go about his business. Or Johnny Carson was, but we never knew about what that thing is. Okay. And so historically, the news people would probably be more Democratic leaning. Mm-hmm. And they probably weren't big fans of the Nixon administration, Watergate, Vietnam, things of that nature. Like it's because it's college, it's journalism school, it's not a job site. It's not. They didn't wrestle in high school and play football and in the military and stuff. It's like college, academia, whatever.
Right.
So, and it's journalism school. So it sort of attracts people that are left leaning, but Walter Cronkite knew he couldn't get out there, Ted Koppel or whoever. They knew they couldn't push an agenda because that wouldn't work for their audience because they're supposed to be calling balls and strikes and just doing the news. Mm-hmm. Okay. And it used to be a completely male-dominated sport. Mm-hmm. And then women started coming in, and much more women, and larger, and MSNBC and stuff like that, or Rachel Maddow or something like that. I don't think women are as good at keeping it under their hat in terms of what they're feeling. You can't take a woman who despises Donald Trump and expect her I'm just going to go right down the middle on this story. No, you're going to get more feeling, more flavor, and then eventually we'll know something because you're out there. So is it an influx of femininity? I'm not really saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying women let you know more what they're thinking about or what they're feeling than the guy just I'm putting my tie on. Maybe the tie keeps
but also,
it.
What was Barbara Walters? We don't know. What was Jane Pauley's leaning? What was Connie Chung? It was the time. We don't know what Deborah Norville thinks. The women, when it wasn't okay.
I do actually know what she's thinking.
You do?
But just Norville.
Yeah, just Norville.
No,
But I think it's just the time.
There was a time. Right.
Yeah,
I agree.
We didn't know.
There was a time when there were no dogs on a plane, and now there are.
Yeah. Yes.
So that is true, but to change the time, you need more of something as well. And there's more newsroom directors are females, more producers are females, more anchors are females. And I just think as time goes on and as it becomes open more to femininity, there is just going to be, we're going to get more of how, we're going to know what they think, whether you agree with it or not.
I just don't think it's a female thing. I think it's a ratings thing. I think Fox came along, they were smart enough to really have their right-leaning opinions, and then the left had to go, well, then that's the ratings. And so the left started saying their opinions, and then it just doubled and doubled and doubled.
It's all about ratings.
Yeah,
it's all about
I don't
ratings
think
and
it's a
people
female
following.
thing.
I think it is the time.
I don't blame females. I'm saying
you sound like you're blaming females.
I'm saying I've seen, let's say, Joy Reid, really come unglued. You know what I mean? Because she seems I don't think she could tamp it down, what I'm saying.
Right. That's what gets ratings.
That's what gets ratings, and that's what that clip goes viral. That everybody's talking about it. We're talking about, you know what I mean? And that's.
I don't know, but she's gone now because she didn't get ratings.
Well, I mean, I think it happens
Hold on. Use the but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still. What are you looking at, Dawson?
Here's the thing. I think I actually miss the days that everybody would just be neutral and just report what's going on and not have opinions, men and women. You know what I mean? Because it is so heated and so polarized, and then you do get people that really lose their shit, and you hear about it, and then everybody wants to watch it, and then somebody else loses their shit on that, and then the person who isn't losing their shit, they're the hero. It's just it's just a show. It's like a big fucking
It's like
circus.
entertainment.
It's entertainment.
Yeah, and I think the women, if that didn't get the ratings, they would keep their emotions in check. I think because they used to.
Yeah, I'll meet you halfway. I think if you do an endeavor, whatever the endeavor is, if it's design and it's just male dominated, then things are going to have a male feel to the design.
Right.
And if you influx women,
that's true.
Then you're going to start to feel better, which is not a bad thing per se. I'm just saying it'll change the way it is.
Of course, and I think they were given permission as the years went on to emote a little bit more or come across as a little bit more emotional and connect with people. I think if you look back, even in the 80s, everybody was just like reading the news, no emotion, no inflection for the most part, unless something tragic happened that everybody was, but they kept it. They just kept, what I mean? They just did it very much.
Well,
facts.
I got an example of emoting, by the way. I made a note. I saw Pastor Jamal Bryant, and I just saw this on Twitter or X the other day. I think we have it somewhere. But you want to talk about emoting, and I'm going to ruin my own point because it's a dude. But here it is. This is pretty fun.
Those of y'all who are from the suburbs, those of y'all that come from a gated community, those of you who live out yonder, you ain't gonna understand this example. But when I used to live with my grandmother in the projects of New York, y'all ain't saying nothing. I discovered something that roaches only start running when you turn the lights on. As long as the lights are out, they gonna be comfortable eating your cereal. Y'all ain't saying nothing, climbing.
I'm not gay, but I kind of would take a blowjob from this guy.
I mean, he could do it.
But the roaches gotta start moving. I came to give a
He's got
warning.
growl breath.
Yes. The light is getting
He's got
ready
a cold
to
or
come
something
on.
about
Donald Trump, the light is getting ready to come on. J.D. Vance, the light is getting ready to come on. MAGA, the light is getting ready to come on. Welcome, because the roaches will check in, but they won't check out. The lights are coming on.
Right. Yeah, don't you think
definitely
male
has a
anchors
CPAP.
are more emotional? I think of like Bill O'Reilly. I think of these people like losing, like
I think everybody has become more emotional.
Tucker Carlson, so emotional.
Yeah, they really, because people will tune in. to
Well,
see them lose their
we
shit.
have to make a distinction between news anchors and opinion people. Like
Right,
Tucker
right,
Carlson
yes.
would go, I'm an opinion person,
Right,
so
of
would
course.
Bill O'Reilly. And,
Yeah, of
but
course.
so would Bill Maher. He'd go, look,
Right.
I'm not an anchor person, I'm an opinion person.
Right.
I like this guy's passion.
And Suits.
And he quoted a commercial from the 70s.
Yeah, turn the roaches check in, but they don't check out.
Right.
Is he the ex-husband of Giselle Bryant from Real Housewives of Potomac?
Oh.
Because she was married to a pastor.
Oh.
Is it Pastor Bryant? Is it the same guy?
Maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
she
wow.
was. Yeah, she was married to some
So
big
the
pastor.
Real Housewives of the Potomac?
Yeah, that she was married to a pastor. I wonder if that's him.
I mean, I don't know how she.
It was a famous pastor, Pastor Bryant. Yeah, yeah. What was? Did he have a cold?
No, that's a choice.
Yeah. I think it's a thing.
He definitely has a CPAC. He's definitely.
Oh, yeah. Deviated septum. Yeah.
It's the same guy.
Oh,
yeah,
it is?
good
Oh,
pull.
there you go. Nice
amazing.
call, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Are they divorced now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the roaches check in. Because he was quoting too many commercials.
I just want a black audience just once. I could just get up there and scream about everything. And just go. Really, what I want is the guys to stand behind me with the bow ties nodding
Yes.
Yeah.
the whole time.
You could have that. Your next special.
Yes.
I want.
Adam goes to
I
church.
love
Yes.
it when they nod and they do a version. I want the Japanese do hi.
Yeah.
I love a hi.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And they do a black version of the hi, but it's, been to the mountain or something, and then they just nod. But I want that. I just feel like I never have that.
We'll get that for you.
Everyone around me's got their arms crossed, and they go, I don't know about I don't feel like I feel like you're wrong when it comes to I just want some head nodders.
You gotta play comedy songs, then you'll get it.
Yes.
You get
Will you get
applause
that?
breaks. Oh yeah, people are just like laugh. Like it's musical theater nerds who are drunk. It's the best. Yes.
He's the best.
What's the all right?
It's like band nerds
With no
who are always having the most sex. Now they're drunken at your show.
with no all right, I'm gonna pull off the table Weird Al.
Okay.
What is the best comedy novelty song?
Best song? Oh, with not Weird Al.
I'm pulled Weird Al.
I love "Fuck Her Gently" by Tenacious D. I love what's the one Part-Time Model by Flight of the Conchords.
Oh, Flight of the Conchords.
I love Lonely. I love
Lonely Boys.
What's the
Lonely
Dick in a
Island Boys.
Box? Lonely Island.
Oh, yeah.
Oh wait, you know what is the best one? Thank You God by Tim Minchin. That's the best comedy song.
Oh, yeah?
That's such a good. Yeah.
All right.
And Bo Burnham has so many good ones.
Oh, does, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say if I had to pick one, I would say Thank You God by Tim Minchin.
Oh, really?
All right. I got to listen to it.
Now I got to write that one down.
He's a big Australian musical comedian.
You know what's
Amazing.
weird? Then there's pop, like the Bare Naked Ladies have alternative girlfriend and stuff where they have sort of novel songs, but they're a pop group that's not, Dr. Demento.
Yeah.
They were my favorite band in high school.
I love them, yeah.
But the Dead Milkmen got a lot of that too. Like, I think the funniest song is Nutrition, but it's a punk rock song.
Oh, really?
At least I give a shit about the stuff I eat.
I never heard that one.
That's so great.
I like a funny song.
Yeah. How about the Dan Band? The Dan Band.
Oh, Dan Band.
But it's
Love the
mostly
Dan Band.
covers,
That
right?
is
So it's hard to.
Right.
But it is funny.
But they're so funny.
God, it's such a good idea. What's your favorite comedy song?
I guess so Dr. Demento had a song called Transfusion that was like from the 50s that was really funny about a guy who just drove a car and he got into an accident every time he got into his car. But every time he got in the car, he was super confident and he was like talking about how he was hauling ass and get out of his way and he's making time. And then we get into an accident. And I don't know why I thought it was funny, but it wasn't a parody of anything.
Right.
It was just its own weird,
funny.
weird song. But I like a funny song. Do you know Harlan Williams?
Yeah.
You know his cousins in Bare Naked Ladies. You guys,
Oh,
What?
weird.
It is? He is?
Successful family.
Seriously.
Yeah,
Love
Harlan's Canadian.
Yeah.
Bare Naked Ladies, Canadian.
didn't
And
realize that.
his cousin is in the Bare Naked
Wow.
Ladies.
Look at that.
Yeah, song. Yeah, Nervous Norvis wrote Transfusion.
Nervous.
It's a weird song, but listen to it on your own time. Okay. One more news story. Do you have another news story in there?
Jay Leno stands by marriage vows as he faces challenges of caring for wife suffering from dementia.
Oh, yeah.
Uplifting.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice that he's. I mean, what's he
Well,
supposed
yeah,
to do? It's
I
like
know.
good. That's
Yeah,
what. That's a
that's what
husband.
you do, yeah.
Well, there are other
Sickness
things.
and health. Yeah.
Things
Yeah.
that other Hollywood guys do.
Sure.
Right,
Sometimes.
yeah.
Right.
Hey, Jay's a good dude.
Good guy.
I saw them and her doing a show I did with him 9 months ago or something. I mean, she's in decline, and that's going to be, a job
Really?
for
Yeah.
him because once it starts happening, it
Yeah.
usually goes pretty quick.
Yeah.
Unless you want to run the United States, in which case we can milk it for just a little bit, But if
Keep it
you're
going.
just a housewife, it goes
Right.
pretty fast,
Yeah.
And they have no kids, and Jay's is a strange bird, and that he's a real good dude and a regular dude, but not a regular dude in a lot of ways.
Right.
He has a dichotomy of sort of. Most stand-up comedians are like douchey or standoffish or whatever. They don't even. He wrenches on cars
Yeah.
all day.
Wait, they've
that's
never
all.
had kids?
Never had kids, and literally, I've said to him with his 175 cars and the value at $500 million. I just went, "Where's it all going?" And he just goes, "I don't care. I'll be gone." And I go, "Yeah, I know you'll be gone, but
Yeah.
I guess fair
you want the
enough.
state just using it or whatever?" It's like, he may be being a little modest about it. I don't know, but I mean,
I bet he'll
No
have like the
kids.
Jay Leno auditorium.
A museum
I bet he'll put
or
his
a-
name on something.
Yeah. They should have. They should take
like a
his cars.
cancer wing
right.
or something. Yeah.
Put the cars in the cancer wing.
Right.
Yeah, obviously.
yeah, it's incredible. No, he had a brother who died pretty young. I don't think he has. That's a good question. I don't think he has any heirs.
Wow.
And she doesn't have her family is
I do not know.
If she has siblings or something,
Yeah.
there might be somewhere to put it. I'm sure there is.
I don't know what her side is. His side is he had a brother, maybe two brothers. I don't know. I got to look it up. He had a brother that died youngish, I think, and maybe another. He had a brother that died from cancer, 2002. I don't think he has anyone else. Parents are gone and that kind of stuff. And I don't know what he has no children. They have no children. And I don't know what her situation is.
I'm just wondering.
Oh my God, he should just give it to one person and they'll be so surprised.
Yeah.
Like he should
just pick a person.
You just get this check. You're like, oh.
You're just like, okay.
Yeah.
All right, great, thank you.
Yeah. He gave me my first late night spot, but it was on when he had the Jay Leno show. It was like at 10 p.m. Do you remember that? Or 9 p.m.
Yes.
Remember that one?
I used to do that all the time. Yeah. Yeah. How was that?
It was good. It was our first thing. It was fun.
Did you sing?
Yeah.
How do you? Well, he didn't find you. Somebody found you, and then they presented you to him.
He did say that he found us in the thing. He goes, I've been looking through comedy, in the comedy clubs. I saw these people. He did say that in the intro. We're like, oh, well, okay, sure. Yeah. But he was very nice. We had a blast, and he was really nice.
Mavis has no family members.
Oh, my God.
And he has no family members.
Wow. So that's just it.
And there's 7 warehouses filled with cars. And by the way, let me tell you something. Forget the cars. What about the warehouses?
Yeah.
Because there's $65 million worth of warehouses.
Oh my gosh, I know what he's going to do.
What?
He's going to leave it to dementia research.
Probably.
Don't you think? Not to be a downer, but I think he will.
I don't. He is a kind of cop and fireman guy.
Oh.
All right.
So I think
that
there's
might be.
Maybe more that.
I mean, he's got a lot. It's a lot of money, so you can split it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I go over there. I poke around every once in a while.
I should just give him my name and number. I mean, just in case he wants to throw a little my way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll research dementia.
Yeah.
He'll be on the app at some point.
Yeah.
Tell me everything.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, she didn't want to have children.
Wow.
Takes full credit for not having kids. She
takes the full credit. All right.
And look at you guys. She didn't want to have kids.
We really
wanted. You guys
we
were out
really
there
wanted to have kids.
Yeah.
Throwing yourselves into kids.
Long road.
But yet, no cool cars to leave them.
Nope.
No. But I have a Bronco. It's cute.
You got an acoustic guitar, but really, it's build a dream on that.
Yeah. It'll have to be someone else. No.
Well, he's a good dude, and he brought her to the last comedy show I did with him. He brought her. He's never done that before. I've never seen him bring her.
Oh, wow.
I've done a lot of stuff. As a matter of fact, I've been to a shop 2,000 times. I've never seen her at the shop. I've seen him 1,000 times. I've never seen her. But about 9 months ago, when we were doing a show, he brought her. So I think he's kind of saying, "You want to see me, one last time up on stage."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, because probably in the middle she got sick of it, seeing the same thing over and over.
Right. Yeah, of course. And then now she wants to see it again before she remembers it, but it'll be brand new every time.
Yeah.
All right. On that depressing note, listen to Riki Lindhome's record. That's
Thank
right.
you.
No worries if not.
Yep.
Out as we speak, wherever you find finer music.
Yeah.
And then Jodi Miller, Decades in the Making. That's on YouTube. And my special, And Carolla Comes Clean, is on YouTube as well. And until next time, Sam, for Riki and Jodi.
Thank you for having me.
And everyone, say it. Mahalo.